we done in the 2 years that we've been up and running, 2.5 nearly? Well, we have established a register, and that might seem like a modest achievement, but when we were established in December 2012, the ATO handed us a paper-based list of 56,500 charities. That was very out of date because they had simply the function to assign charitable status for the purposes of tax concessions. They had not been resourced and they had not been expected to maintain that as an up-to-date database. So we wanted to digitise it, and we wanted to move to be a fully digital operation. We learned over time that in fact we're almost at the end. We're literally within weeks of actually finishing this exercise. We've learned that probably close to 10,000 of those charities have been inoperative. So we have already revoked the status of some 7,000 charities. We just announced today that there's a further 1,800 that we've revoked the status of just in the last week. The reason being that 4 weeks ago we sent letters, we did it actually in a staggered way, to 6,000 charities that had not submitted reports for either the 2013 or 2014 reporting year. So we called them double defaulters. They had defaulted on their obligations for 2 years in a row. We suspected that many of them were inoperative. We also suspected that there would be those charities with the disposition of some that they're not going to pay their gas bill until they get a threat of disconnection. That proved to be the case. So the phones have run hot. It's done a lot of damage to our service standards. We pride ourselves on answering the phone within 11 seconds and getting back to people. So we've certainly put a dent into those service standards. But we've had 2,500 charities submit in the last few weeks that had been double defaulters. And we're moving on those that have not, and there is the strong suspicion that they're inactive. I might say, sitting behind this suspicion of that they're out of fund, we've had 5 rounds of letters to the paper, the postal address that we were given. We've run our databases past the ATO's databases, state and territory databases and so on. So we've gone through a fair exercise to determine if they're in existence or not. Why is this so important that there be an accurate and up-to-date register? It's because that register is of bona fide charities. That's a register of charities that are deemed to meet baseline governance standards and financial management practice. They're the charities that the community can give to with confidence. And our first object in our Act is trust and confidence. So that's an incredibly important part of providing to the broader Australian community a freely available resource that wasn't there in the past. I think the other reason that it's really important is that we know that donors, grant makers and others, government agencies are now reliant on that as the secure database on which to base their decision making. In addition to that, we've used the information that's come from those charities through the first Gain of Information Statement, the 2013, and we're about to announce the successful tenderer for the 2014 analysis of data. We now have, for the first time ever in Australia, a snapshot of the sector. And we provided a report last year. There'll be another one in a couple of months' time, following the 30th of June deadline for the last of the calendar year reporters. We will then get that information back to you, aggregated, analysed. This is what the sector looks like. For the first time this year, we'll have financial reporting, so there'll be a separate report on, never known before, the income in the sector, the use of those monies, the oft-asked question, how much is applied to administration as distinct from other expenses. The first time we'll be able to answer those kinds of questions. So this is closing the feedback loop, getting the information back to the sector.